Welcome to the Big Mike Fund podcast, where you'll learn about advanced wealth building strategies from real estate investing to creating massive ROI and secured retirement profits. So pour yourself a cup of coffee, grab a notepad, and lean in, because Big Mike has got the mic. Starting now.
Welcome to the Big Mike Fund podcast. I'm the Big Mike.
Mike's Lightning, and today it is my pleasure and a privilege to welcome back two of my really great friends, Bill Fairman and Wendy. Sweet. And she's always super sweet. So she's the sweetest person of them all. So Wendy, Bill, great to have you back. How have you been?
It's great.
Well, first of all, thank you. You're obviously scraping the bottom of the barrel because you're asking us back.
I wouldn't call that. Wonderful people are always wonderful people. And the business environment, business environment has been, challenging for many of us. So we're recording this on April Fool's Day, 2025. So whatever we say here could be all
we wanted to beat the tariffs. That's what it is. We want to beat the tariffs because they're all coming tomorrow.
Well, you're in Carolina, so let's start with how's the business? How Carolinas are doing? You've still always been great areas to bring up your family. Carolina is still growing, and manufacturing, U.S.-based businesses, are they thriving? People still moving to Carolinas? Are you still seeing good hard money business? Carolina hard money is still doing well? What's the latest?
So the Carolinas always will, as far as I'm concerned, be a great place for people to invest in. It's people want to move to the Southeast, and that's where we lend in. So, and we picked it not only because it's our backyard, but because it's always been consistently a pretty strong area to move to. The thing about where we are, we never really had a steep climb, and we've never really had a big drop. We've always been kind of steady Eddie. So we like that, right?
Yeah, single family is still appreciating at 6 to 7%, which is
not bad at all.
Fairly normal. That's normal. As you know, the 20 and 22% appreciation was not normal and unsustainable. But yeah, we still have plenty of people moving to the area. There's plenty of growth going on, but it has, I'll say it slowed down to normal.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And apartments, multifamily, we're feeling the same thing everybody across the country is.
Yeah, we're a little oversaturated.
Yeah, rents are tough.
Again, on your Class A, they're having to discount the rates because they overbuilt a little bit. But we're still behind. We still have a housing shortage.
Yeah.
So they're bringing down the prices because a lot of people can't afford it. Listen, when I moved out on my own, I didn't move out on my own. I had to have roommates. Mm-hmm. So guess what? People are going to have roommates.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
So what I'm hearing from you, the areas, the Carolinas is still growing. The business is healthy. People want to live there. But affordability is becoming an issue. Affordability is becoming an issue everywhere on the country.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, obviously, COVID, inflation has risen the cost of living. And we also had interest rates spike, which makes it more difficult to afford a home.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then as substitution effect kicks in, people go after rental properties. The rents have gone up too. But at some point, at least in the multifamily space, they've overbuilt. So from that perspective, the rent growth slowdown. And there's a concept called reversion to the mean. So when you grow too fast for too long, at some point you have to revert to the average, right?
Yep.
What goes up must come down.
We're going to feel a little bit of this. We'll see where we go. So tariffs. Okay, let's talk about specifically what's happening with the new administration. What do you think the impact is going to be on your neck of the woods? A lot of businesses going to be impacted by these tariffs in Carolinas?
We don't have really a ton of manufacturing here. We have manufacturing, but it's not manufacturing heavy. We do have diversification here, but it's more in supply chain stuff.
Yeah.
So Charlotte is very strategically located. It's 1 day's truck drive. And when I say 1 day, you're talking about teams of people that one person drives for, 10 hours. That person goes to sleep and the next person drives for another 10 hours. So we're 1 day's truck drive from nearly 50% of the U.S. population. We have north, south, east, and west interstate systems. And then we have a direct rail line from the port of Charleston that was one of the first East Coast ports to improve so they can take the mega ships in here. So, and then of course we're second behind New York in financial services as well. So I don't know that the tariffs are going to have a huge impact here.
Well, one thing is they've been, you've heard some announcements, a lot of announcements lately about companies, car companies, different types of manufacturing companies that are investing back into the U.S. And most of those you'll hear are in the South and the Southeast. We have a huge BMW plant here. Toyota has a big plant here. So those will only increase. So we're really excited about
I think
that growth.
The bottom line is we all talk about free trade, but it hasn't really been free trade.
Yeah.
All this will be negotiated till where everyone is having equal trade.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there may be a little bit of pain at the beginning, but I'm 90% sure that it will all flush out so we can actually have free trade.
That's right. When you rip a Band-Aid off, it hurts. I don't care where the Band-Aid's located. When you rip it off, it's going to hurt. So we're all going to feel pain at some point from this. And we've been living large for such a long time, at least the past 4 years, until you get choked out. We're going to have to go through the pain, I believe, to get back to where we should be. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a little concerned about how painful it's going to be and how long that pain will last.
So I heard something this morning that I didn't realize, but 69% of all the wealth, and we're talking stocks and real estate, are controlled by 10% of the population.
Well, that's normal. That's been. Yeah, I'm surprised only 69%. It's actually supposed to be even a bigger number. In vibrant economies, you have strong middle class, and you have enough of that. So U.S. maybe is in that 69% bracket. If you go many other countries that are not the way U.S. is, it's probably not 69. It's more like 80 to 90% is controlled by 10%. But that's not.
What scared me the most was that over 50% of the U.S. population couldn't afford a $2,000 hiccup. That they're all living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
So
credit card.
While we still have a lot of wealth in this country, more than half the country does not feel wealthy, and you need to have optimism in the population, I think, to help the growth, and it'll come. It's just going to take a little bit. But I'm not worried about a housing
bubble
or a crash, because there's no way that's going to happen. There's not enough houses.
Well, we've heard that rodeo before, but we've seen a number of corrections already in some.
There's nothing wrong with a correction, but
yeah, it's just kind of like it's affordability issue. It's not necessarily a supply demand issue. At some point, you just can't afford, right?
Yeah. No, agreed. Which tells me that there's still going to be a lot of renters out there. We just have to get at that happy medium of, how much is it going to cost, and then how much are you going to be able to get as far as income from them.
And different ways to rent too.
Yeah.
Like co-living, like we're kind of getting into that personally, putting our duplex up into co-living where you rent out by the room. That's, with Pad Split, I think is the brand name that a lot of people are using right now. So it's just different in the way we'll pack them into the housing.
Pack them in.
And allow people to rent. They're just going to have to look at it a little differently,
Well, affordability, right? At the end of the day,
Yes.
people can afford their own apartments, that they wind up renting, a room with roommates. That's been the story of kind of
I
college
did,
after college. Yeah.
yeah,
So
Listen,
at
that's
some
just
point, this issue, either folks grow their income and they're able to afford, or they have to stay. You also alternative to that, you have extended family, so people don't move out;
good.
they stay longer with the parents and grandparents, and all that continues to be driven by the affordability
yep.
of housing.
Yeah.
So, one question back to you, kind of your core business, lending. So how's lending business in Carolinas as far as demand, supply, demand of money, supply, demand of products, fix and flip projects, what you finance day in and day out? What kind of interest rates are you seeing nowadays? Higher for longer interest rates obviously have been a boost for the higher rates. The banks pulled out on some of these loans, so it should be decent time to be a lender.
Yeah,
And
we're actually sitting at about 4 and 11.99 right now. And one of the things that I think is really interesting that we're seeing is there are a ton of people who are interested in being private lenders. Lots of them out there. And we've actually been training people on how to do it because you and I both know that it looks pretty from the outside. But once you get in there and you start doing it, you're like, oh, this is a lot harder than I thought. Let me give them my money, so that they can lend it out for me. So it's not as easy as everybody thinks it is to be in the deal correctly in the first place. So we've actually been seeing a lot of our normal borrowers going to a private lender. Now, most people, we tell them, gosh, if you can find a private lender that works for you, that understands that their terms are good, what it works for you, then that's absolutely a great way to go. I certainly wouldn't discourage that. The problem is when you've got a lot of people who have no idea what they're doing lending wise, and they're lending to a borrower who always also does not really know what they're doing. There's going to be a lot of money lost in one way or the other out there. So I hate to see that happening. But it's interesting that there's so many people interested in learning more about being the bank, which I think is a good thing for those of us that lend, because most people don't want to create a whole new job for themselves anyway. The whole idea is to, retire and let your money work for you. And, we all know, Mike, as you well know, that it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do correctly.
yeah, understood and agreed. It's people hear wonderful ideas, and certainly if you do lending properly, it's a good secured, first lien investment at the right LTV on the right project with the right borrower. If all those things click, you can have, a good performing loan. And then if a lot of things go south, the borrower is bad, the project is bad, the LTV is wrong, we know the drill. So
Yeah. And
performance
so
issues
many
will come.
people are real excited about that return. Gosh, I can make 15% or 18%. And yes, I'm in second position, but it doesn't matter what your return is if you don't get your money back, right?
Yeah, we've seen this rodeo before. So the borrowers always try to get the least expensive money, and they always look for the least sophisticated lenders
That's right.
to build a relationship. And the same thing, people who invest somehow they think they want to bypass the middleman, folks who put these deals together, and quite often they wind up in this position where they don't know how to underwrite. And when these deals don't perform, they start scratching their head. So
Yeah.
absolutely, I mean, 4 and 12 effectively, 4 11.99 is a good rate. We've been doing 14 and 2. You're doing 12 and 4 plus minus. It's about the same on the annual
Right.
basis, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a good market for lending. It's a good market to be a lender, but finding quality borrowers and finding the investors. There's always we're sort of in this constant game of marrying money and opportunity. Sometimes it goes well. Sometimes things don't go the way they're supposed to go. But that's an evolution. That's why that's how people learn, by making a mistake and then adjusting. But overall, private credit is still sort of a better opportunity today than it was a few years ago.
Absolutely. And the banks aren't filling that niche. There's so many people too that have just been living large over the past 3 and 4 years, and the market has corrected their mistakes. And the past year and a half to 2 years, that hasn't been happening.
Nope.
So those are the people that are having to learn. You got to stick with the formula. It's tried and true.
It's hard, right? The hard work is hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom line. And you mentioned something earlier. This really concerns me. The actually U.S. consumer is really tapped out, and
Yeah.
sort of a lot of folks have been accustomed to government giveaways. And when those giveaways stop, and the economy slows down, we might see some level of reset. I mean, it's a reset. We might see a real recession, a real reset. So what do you think if that were to happen? I'm just curious from your point of view. If we see a real recession, right now we see a lot of uncertainty. That's the word in town, uncertainty. Right? It's because of the tariffs, because of other new policies. The uncertainty is not necessarily bad or good, but it's difficult for people to do business. It's difficult for people to make decisions. And that's what's sort of beginning to slow things down in the United States. If we see a real recession, what do you think it's going to do to fix and flip? Is it going to soften up the overall? People still need to live somewhere, right? So housing is still needed. So I'm just curious your thoughts. If we see some kind of slowdown later this year, are residential real estate prices, you think, going to hold up? And we've seen commercial soften. So at this point, I'll just have one comment. A lot of commercial today, to me, looks a lot more attractive because the prices have corrected substantially, because they trade as a function of the cost of debt. While residential has been a function of limited supply, and we've seen prices really still holding up, even affordability has gotten very, very difficult. So I'm just curious, on a relative basis, do you see better opportunity in, I don't know, multifamily, any kind of commercial in your neck of the woods, or is it better to be a lender on residential? I'm just forward opportunities. What do you see? Like, what are you planning to do in the next, I don't know, 6 to 12 months? Anything different, or it's all same game? Just be conservative.
Well, with us, again, it's all the opportunity, right? And as we know, well, not everybody knows this, but FHA right now has a pretty high delinquency rate. They're like in the 15-16% range in some areas.
I heard it's even worse. The number of delinquencies on FHA paper is even above that. There's some of this data is on the reps, but it's getting worse. Let me put it this way.
But if you look at FHA, it's really the subprime of the mortgage industry now. You don't have subprime, you have FHA.
Yeah.
So those borrowers already had kind of shaky credit, and they're putting down a lot less money. Those are the first ones that start to feel it when things slow down. That said, most of these people have positive equity in their homes, so they don't have to be foreclosed on. They can certainly sell these properties and still get out of them with at least enough money to get a, first and last month's rent somewhere else.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's inventory, right? What you just described.
Right. So it's going to add inventory.
They will be forced to list these properties if they can't afford the mortgage.
Right.
And that's creating more inventory, which will be put some downwards pressure.
Yeah. And again, I don't see a crash. There's nothing wrong with houses coming down a little bit because they went up so much. It's just a bit of a correction. Now, on the other side, you still have people that can buy notes, and they can buy the note at a discount and then turn around and hopefully work it out again with the people that are in there. If they can afford a new payment that's lower, that's the first thing you try to do is work that note out with the homeowner if you can. Otherwise, you take that property and turn it into a rental because there'll be a lot more people needing rentals. So in my opinion, because our area is still growing, it's going to be a much softer landing here if we go into a recession than in other possible areas. And yes, Wendy and I are still looking at small balance commercial stuff too. We love small retail strip centers. We love small self storage. We love small light industrial properties. Um, the light industrial especially I like because we have a lack of inventory in that space as well, and that's where all your plumbers, your HVAC folks, your electricians, that's where they all have their space. And there's not enough of that around either. So, from a lender's point of view, if we do have to take one of those back, we can typically get rid of it quicker than normal.
And with a lot of unemployment that seems to be growing at this point, especially with all the government jobs that are being cut, there's I think there's an opportunity for people to be more business owners. Everybody's paying all this money to go to college and learn nothing instead of getting back into trades and skills. And I think it's going to kind of force people to start doing that, which only opens up an opportunity for more small business. And with the administration that we have now, they're small business friendly and will only get friendlier in that way. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen. Every day is a different story. And I mean, like, I know today's April 1st, tomorrow is April 2nd, and all these tariffs are supposed to hit. I'm anxious to see, really what's going to happen. I don't ever guess anymore because, I'm never right. I haven't been right since 2008, and I was wrong then.
Well, the crystal ball conversation, we pretty much know that I correct this joke 1,000 times. I used to have a crystal ball, it broke, and I don't know where to get another one.
That's right.
The bottom line is we are not really in the prediction business. We are sort of in the risk mitigation business. Just prepare for all these possibilities that could happen.
And that's the key, Mike. You need to make sure that you're prepared because bad things happen to good people all the time. Bad things happen to smart people all the time. And we're all going to make mistakes in what we do. But the key is to not give up because there's opportunity everywhere. We just need to make sure we're educated in what it is that we're doing, talk to other people and see what they're doing and learn from each other and figure out a way to make deals work using good common sense with the formulas that have been tried and true. That's the key.
Yeah, I appreciate the wisdom. I mean, the United States is a land of opportunity, and I'm thinking a little bit about this, all the government layoffs. The question is, these folks, are they prepared for a private industry, small business, starting their own business, or they've been too accustomed to the government jobs, career, and now, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do when?
Well, they'll make good employees to the people that do have the
small business
drive.
Well, the question is what they're used to, and it's some kind of reset. Can they open their own business? Can they be productive again? This is yet, we need to see. But it's important that this is the difference between socialism and capitalism, right? Mm-hmm. Socialism, you have a government. I grew up in the Soviet Union. The government gave everybody a job, and ultimately, a lot of people collected their check and just showed up at work and did very little. Mm-hmm. Right? In that environment, you have terrible productivity, you have corruption, you have sort of lack of incentives. Sure. And then the folks that are forced to search for a job, we all find ways to improve and learn and evolve when the reality forces us to adjust. So from that perspective, I think the changes are necessary. It's necessary to have a recession. It's necessary for the healthy economy to function that way. So
I'm sorry. I was going to say there's an economist. His name is Walter Williams, and one of the things that always stuck out with me. One of the things he said was that bankruptcy is good for the economy because when one business can no longer operate profitably, when they do go into bankruptcy and they sell off all their assets, there's other people that will come in, buy those assets, and be able to be productive. And now they're getting them at a cheaper price, and that's starting other new businesses around that.
Kind of a new slate.
So it's like the normal yearly cycle of the fall when the leaves fall down to the ground. You have the winter, and then spring
Right.
comes and all the leaves start coming back. So it's just a normal business cycle. It's not um, some are
Not the
gonna
end of the world.
yeah some are gonna make it, some are not. Others are gonna make it because others didn't.
Yeah.
Well, this is life. Every difficulty creates an opportunity,
Yeah.
right? If you even look at this today, the real estate market has gone through cycles, and it was sort of a peak of the cycle when interest rates were low, and now we've seen a significant reset. So what this reset does, it creates opportunity for the new investment for the new operators,
Mm-hmm.
those who have not done well, and those folks who will have lost money. So it's a terrible situation, of course,
Yeah.
but this is how the capitalism works. It resets, moves things forward, and it's an evolution. It's not all Darwinism and kind of, but at the same time, you got to you got to go through other these cycles without the cycles in life, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
You have you have one season all the time, and if the season ever changes, you can
Right.
never change
Right.
with the times because you haven't seen the season. And then the other thing that you said, I really like to think of is we all need to have indomitable spirit.
Mm.
You fall, you get up, right? Life
Right.
is about learning lessons, and no matter what difficulties life throws at us, if we just take the right mental attitude, I think we all learn, we all improve. And even if you're on a deathbed, right? It's part of life. It's just
That's right.
that's all part of life. So at the end of the day, this is the way kind of God created Earth and the cycle, and we have to go through
Mm-hmm.
some of these changes.
Mm-hmm.
So quick, any other comments, thoughts, new good book, any new suggestions, and also how would folks reach out to you? Are you still running a podcast? You still running the show? I'm just curious. Refresh folks on your website. What's the best way to reach out?
So we're not doing the podcast anymore. However, I do run a group on Friday mornings at 7:30 on Zoom, 7:30 a.m. every Friday, and it is a faith-based group. We'll have 120 to 140 people on the call from across the
Wow.
country. It's really, really good. It's, we do a little sermon first, and then we talk about the market, a market update for 15 minutes, and we cover the whole country on it. And then we talk about real estate, everything there is about real estate. You can also go to the recordings and see them for the past 5 years, and that is at youtube.com/at Sunrisers. And Sunrisers is SONRISERS. So that's something to check out. And what's your book, Bill? I see you're looking at.
Actually, I got three I want to touch on. The Hero's Guide to Influence by Nate Woodbury. The Hero's Guide to Influence. Now, he does YouTube channels that it's completely different from the way most people look at stuff. When somebody is doing a search for SEO, what normally is you're looking for the number of times people search that phrase in a month, and most people are going for like the 70,000 searches. So most people are looking for that. Well, he does it a completely different way. His search phrases are 8 to 10 words long, very, very specific. Now, it may only be 10 to 20 searches for that per month, but guess what? those are the people
Yeah,
that are
targeted.
really into what it is that you're offering. And so I've gone through this book. It's awesome. The videos typically are only 2-3 minutes long. It's great if you're trying to market.
So it doesn't lose your interest.
Right. John Maxwell just came out with a new book, and it's called High Road Leadership. I heard him speak at one of our recent masterminds, and then his team was there this past one, and they do a great job. He's got, I don't know, something like 40 leadership books.
Yeah.
And then the last one is 80/20 Sales and Marketing by Perry Marshall. I recommend all of those very highly.
Thank you, Bill. These are awesome recommendations. Again, thank you, Wendy. We'll, I'm sure they'll be in the show notes. So these are great suggestions. And John Maxwell, yeah, he is the
He's
sort of
great.
a godfather of the a lot of these leadership books. So
Oh, absolutely.
No doubt.
appreciate you. Wishing you a wonderful spring. I don't know when this episode will come out in a few weeks. Hopefully, we'll. But it's going to be the weather. The season is going to continue, and evolution of the United States will continue, and we certainly could use some changes. It's kind of the pendulum swings sometimes one way too much, and we are adjusting back. And this is all life. There's nothing fundamentally wrong. In fact, as long as we continue to swing left, right, and somehow meet in the middle, we continue as a country, we continue as a culture. And I think it's a lot of positive things. A lot of change is good. At the end of the day,
It is good.
it's sometimes it's perceived painful, sometimes it's perceived difficult, but
Don't give up.
yeah, the life moves forward. I appreciate you
That's
guys.
right.
I appreciate your wisdom. It's great to see your faces again on this. It'll come out both as a podcast and as a YouTube video.
Awesome.
And continue to evolve, continue your journey, and we'll have you back again.
We're looking forward to it.
Mike, this is the reason that I've been in this business as long as I have, because it's always evolving and changing.
Yeah,
It never gets boring.
that's for sure.
That's the one thing that's permanent in the universe is change.
That's right.
That's right.
And you get to meet good friends like we have in
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Likewise. Thank you, guys.
Our pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Big Mike Fund Podcast. To receive your copy of Mike's How to Choose a Smart Real Estate Fund book, head to BigMikeFund.com or visit Amazon and type Mike's slot name. Keep listening and keep investing Big Mike style. See you on the next episode.